Good morning to my favorite Sunday school students. That would be all of you. Thank you for joining us this Sunday morning. I know you guys don't necessarily always join on Sunday morning, and that's perfectly fine. Whenever you guys join us, that's why we do this. Whenever you guys join us, it's perfectly okay. But thank you for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Today, we're going to talk about our gospel reading, which was the feeding of the 5,000. And feeding 5,000 people is impressive in and of itself. However, we're not just talking about the number 5,000 only refers to the men in the crowd. So as we get into this, you have to understand that we're not talking about women and children in that number, just men. So there's estimates that have been as high as or as low as 12,000, as many as 20,000 people here that Jesus is feeding. So just keep that in mind. So he's feeding a huge crowd of people. So Jesus, at this point in time, he's basically just trying to get away and take a break. And I don't blame him. When I want to get away and take a break, I don't have a boat. I have a car, so I get in a car and I take a drive. Jesus here hops in a boat, goes for a sail. But the crowds are following him because we're in the Sea of Galilee here. So the Sea of Galilee is kind of in the middle of Israel. And I'll put a map up here for you as well so you can see it. But because of that, the crowd can follow him. So Jesus lands on shore, and they're in a desolate place, and like I said, the people are following him, and he feels sorry for these people. So because Jesus is a compassionate, loving, our loving God, he takes pity upon these people, and he goes into the crowd and he teaches and heals them. And that's this is what Jesus' ministry was at this point in time. So the people came from all around to see him and to be healed by him. So so we're getting into the evening now, and one of the disciples comes up to Jesus and tells him, the day is over. We got to make the crowds go away because they need to eat. So Jesus tells them, they need not go away. Don't send them away. You give them something to eat. The disciples are looking at each other like, how are we going to give them something to eat? We only have these 5 loaves of bread and these 2 fish. That's not a whole lot of food. I mean, we're not talking, we're talking 20,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Not going to go very far. So he said, bring them here to me, the food. That's what he's talking about here. So have everyone sit down on the grass. And Jesus takes the loaves and the 2 fish. He looks up to heaven and he says a blessing. Now, we don't know what the blessing is. It's not recorded here. But he takes the bread, he breaks it, gives it to the disciples, and the disciples go out in the crowd and start feeding. And feed and feed and feed and feed and feed and feed. And they do the same thing with the fish. And the people ate and were satisfied. So they were full. So they ate until they were full. So after Jesus does this, the disciples, all 12 of them, they take up baskets and they go into the crowd and they start picking up all the leftovers. And they end up with 12 baskets, 1 for each disciple, of the broken pieces that have been left over. That's a lot of food. If you start out with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, and you end up with 12 baskets of leftovers, that's a lot. That's a lot. And what we kind of learn here is 2 very important things. The first thing is that, let's look at the food as Jesus' love. He gives us his love, and he gives us an overabundance. That means a lot. More than we can handle. More than we can take. And we have leftovers. And when we have those leftovers, we have people who take that leftover love that they have and they feel, and they go out into the world and they preach the word of the Lord. And that still goes on today. We're talking about things that happened 2,000 years ago, but it still happens today. And it's very cool that happens. But Jesus also feeds us. He gives us what we need to survive. Now we need food, clothing, shelter, water. Those are the things we need to survive. And Jesus gives us those. Well, how does Jesus give us those? Jesus was there during the creation. So it all goes back to Genesis 1, all the way back to the beginning, when before there were the heavens and the earth, and the water that was formed and divided up into land, and then the animals and the people came. Jesus was there for all of that. He made all of that with God. Really hard to understand all of that. I get that. But that's the way things work. And that's the way it worked, and that's the way it worked here. So, but just keep that in mind. Next time you go to next time we're allowed to go to a baseball game or a football game or some big stadium like that, and you look around and you see thousands and thousands of people, just think, one time, a long time ago, Jesus sent 12 people into the crowd, starting with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, and fed all these people. It'll blow you away. Trust me. I did it when I was a kid too. So, but thank you again for joining us this week. Short video this week. And I'll see you guys later. So thanks again. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye, guys.